This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire, the no-show. Who set you back because they didn't show up on day one, or day two, or ever again. And now your product launch is delayed because you're talking to alien abduction podcasters to track them down. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can help make sure your next hire sticks. In fact, businesses who use LinkedIn are 24% less likely to reopen a role in the next 12 months. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
Hello and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts. I'm your haunted host, Jennifer, your resident medium and teller of ghost stories. I want to take a moment and thank you for listening to my voice this evening. And now I'm going to let you know tonight's stories involve crossroads and liminal spaces. Those in-between spaces where the world seems to lose its footing, doorways at the stroke of midnight, roads that meet in the dark and don't let go so easily. Some say these places aren't really anywhere at all, and that's exactly why something else might be waiting there. I found some spooky stories to give you the chills for sure. And after that, join me at my seance table for a message from the spirits. As your spirit medium, I open the space for a message to come through for someone listening. Linger near and see if tonight's session is for you. That's later in the episode. But first, be careful where you wander. Some spaces have ghosts waiting for you there right now. Let's start with the word itself. Liminal comes from the Latin limen, which means threshold, a doorway. And anthropologists have long noted that thresholds make people uneasy in a very specific way. You're not in the space you left, and you're not in the space you're entering. For one suspended second, you're nowhere. Folklorists call this liminality, a state of in-betweenness, and across cultures, in-between states get treated as dangerous, sacred, or both. Twilight isn't day or night, a newborn isn't yet fully of this world, and the crossroads aren't really one road or the other. It's the space between them. It makes a strange kind of sense that ghost stories cluster here. If a ghost is a soul caught between departure and arrival, what better home for it than a place that's caught between two worlds? Let's go back to ancient Greece, where the goddess Hecate held dominion over crossroads specifically. She's even depicted with 3 faces, one looking down each of the 3 converging roads. Households would leave offerings at crossroad shrines called Hecate's suppers. Food set out at the new moon, perhaps not for the goddess to eat, but to satisfy the restless dead who traveled with her. Offerings such as eggs or fish to placate the wandering souls and ensure they leave a household in peace. Though there are offerings you can make to the goddess of witchcraft and the dead, red wine, garlic, and honey, to ask for protection and guidance. Because Hecate didn't just preside over crossroads, she led processions of the unquiet dead through them at night. And if you crossed her path, literally, you risked more than bad luck. This is one of the oldest documented links between crossroads and hauntings anywhere in the historical record, and it sets a template that would echo for millennia. Crossroads as gathering points, way stations for the dead. Across the Atlantic, the crossroads become something else, a bargaining table. The most famous version of this legend attaches to blues musician Robert Johnson, who, according to enduring folklore, met a figure at a rural Mississippi crossroads and traded his soul for supernatural skill on the guitar. Johnson himself never claimed this in any interview that survives. The legend was built largely after his death, stitched together from old folk motifs. Because the crossroads deal predates Johnson by a long way, it draws on West African and African American folk traditions involving a spirit or a trickster figure encountered at the crossroads, sometimes called the crossroads demon, sometimes linked to deities such as Papa Legba in Haitian voodoo and West African Yoruba tradition, a guardian of crossroads, gates, and the boundary between the human and the spirit worlds. The through line here is a boundary. The crossroads is where a deal can be struck precisely because it belongs fully to neither side. It's a neutral ground, which makes it the only place a human and something other might meet as equals. Here's a story that's circulated in a collection of Mississippi Delta oral histories recorded from an anonymous source that I want to share here, framed in the first person as it was originally told. My uncle used to tell it that he'd gone out to the crossroads outside of town. Not for any deal, mind you, just walking off an argument with his brother, walking alone close to midnight because this was the faster path. He said there was a man already standing in the crossroads when he came upon it, just standing off to the side, not doing anything. No car nearby, no house for a mile in either direction. My uncle nodded to him the way you do, and the man nodded back, but didn't say a word. My uncle said the strangest part wasn't the man being there. It was that when he glanced back a few seconds later, the man was gone. Not walked off, not down the road, just gone. And the crickets, which had been singing the whole time, had stopped dead the moment he passed that spot. They didn't start again until he was near a quarter mile down the road. He never went back through that crossing after dark again. Some say there are places you only get to walk through once and come out the other side without paying for it. Whether that's 90% memory and 10% embellishment after 40 years of retelling, that's the nature of oral folklore. But it's a near-perfect distillation of the legend. The stranger at the crossroads, the silence, the sense that you were, for a moment, somewhere you weren't quite supposed to be. Now, if the crossroads is a spatial threshold, midnight is its temporal twin. Midnight isn't just late. Structurally, it's at the same kind of seam we talked about earlier, the point where one day hasn't quite finished and the next hasn't quite been born. It's why witching hour folklore, churchyard curfews, and don't answer the door after midnight warnings show up in cultures with no contact with each other. Put the two together, a crossroads at midnight, and the European and American folklore treat it as maximum exposure. This is the hour and the place cited again and again in ritual instructions for everything from summoning to divination to, allegedly, striking deals of your own. Stand at the crossroads at midnight, walk backwards around it 3 times, and something might meet you there, whether or not you wanted it to. So let's bring this into something closer to modern ghost story, the vanishing hitchhiker. Told in countless regional variations across the US and Europe, the basic shape of the story stays remarkably consistent. A driver, usually alone, usually at night, picks up a hitchhiker standing at a crossroads or roadside. The passenger is quiet outside of giving an address and vanishes from the moving vehicle before they arrive, sometimes leaving behind a jacket, a scarf, some sort of single physical trace. The driver, shaken, goes to the address, only to learn the person they described has died years earlier, often at that very intersection they were picked up. Folklorists have traced versions of this story back well over a century, and it remains one of the most widely collected pieces of contemporary folklore in the English-speaking world. What's notable for our purposes is where the encounter almost always begins, at a crossroads, at night. The location isn't incidental set dressing. It's doing the same work Hecate's shrine did, marking the spot as a known point of crossing. I found one version of this story in a regional folklore archive, submitted by someone describing an experience from years earlier. Come take this ride with us. It was maybe 1 a.m. I was driving back from my sister's place on a stretch of country road that crosses another about halfway home. Nothing out there but fields. I saw someone standing right at the crossing, thumb out, and I almost didn't stop. But it felt wrong to leave a person standing alone out there that late, so I pulled over. She got in my car without much of a hello. Younger than me, maybe, wet coat, though it hadn't rained. She gave me an address, maybe 10 minutes up the road, and didn't say another word the whole ride. She just looked out the window like she was watching for something. When I pulled up to the address, I turned to tell her we arrived, and her seat was empty. I actually got out of the car and checked the back because I thought maybe I misjudged and she had already stepped out while I stopped. There was nothing, just a wet patch on the seat where she had been sitting. I knocked on the door of the house because I didn't know what else to do. An older man answered, and when I described my passenger, he looked very solemn and told me that this had been his daughter's address before she died at the same crossing I had picked her up at. I didn't ask anything else. I just said I was sorry and left. Classic theme, classic ending. And notice, even as a story submitted anonymously, decades removed from wherever it actually started, it still begins in exactly the same spot every version of this legend begins, the crossing of 2 roads, meeting in the dark. So why does this keep happening across Greek religion, Mississippi blues legend, and roadside ghost stories told in the back of a car on a long drive home? I think it's because a crossroads is one of the few pieces of ordinary, unremarkable infrastructure that quietly performs the same symbolic job as a church door or graveyard gate. It's a threshold built into the landscape without anyone intending it to be one. You don't need a priest to consecrate it or a builder to design it as sacred. Two roads meet, and the meeting itself does the work. Maybe that's the real haunting. Not a specific ghost, not a specific deal maker waiting under a specific tree, but the fact that we keep building roads, and roads keep crossing, and every single crossing quietly reproduces the oldest fear we have, that somewhere between here and there, we might not be entirely alone. So, next time you're driving late and you hit a crossroads with no other headlights in sight, and the clock happens to roll past midnight right as you stop, you probably don't need to worry. Probably.
This summer, soccer is here, and so are the watch parties. And Uber Eats has your game day essentials covered. Everything you need to keep your crowd happy, delivered straight to your door. Get wings, pizza, chips, dips, fresh ingredients, and more. Keep the soccer going and all your game day essentials flowing. Order in so you can lock in for the games. Only on Uber Eats for a limited time.
Welcome back. I have a message from the spirits this evening for someone listening to the podcast. Thank you for joining me at my seance table tonight. The candles are lit, and I thought since I mentioned Hecate this evening that I would work with the herb yarrow. Yarrow is wonderful for love, protection, drawing attention and energy to yourself, and it's said to be a visionary herb. Yarrow is a good ingredient in dream pillows and in a psychic tea and incense blends. Carry it to open a conduit between your physical and spiritual self, allowing inspiration, insight, and alignment to shine through. So I'm going to clear my mind and open the space for a spirit to come close. Tonight I have with me someone's cat. They're showing me that they were your best friend, and this has been a very hard loss for you, and you're blaming yourself. And they're like, no, my passing wasn't your fault. They're showing me that they loved the outside and loved being in nature, hiding under the leaves, watching the light dance in the grass and the shadows, and everything was just so amazing outside. And they had a little puffball toy that they would carry around, and it was just so cute to watch a cat carry something. They know their passing was hard, but they want to comfort you and again tell you that everything is okay. They want to see you celebrating and enjoying your life. Another detail they're showing me is them splashing the water in the sink as the water's coming out of the faucet, trying to scoop it. And they hope that you can still feel their energy because they're still with you. I love it when animals come through because I love the messages that they can bring, the insight that they have. Their message tonight for you is to go ahead and shake things up, to make changes where you need to make changes. Try not to be burdened with your grief for too long. They want to see you let that go and live your life, and they see a lot of forward motion for you, a lot of changes, maybe a move, maybe a new city, maybe a new job. They want adventure for you. So don't ever feel like you're stuck in your decisions and your life is your life. If there's something that you want, really seriously consider it.
Because you never know. You may meet your best friend in this new place. You might meet the love of your life in this new space. Follow your intuition and let it have a say. Let it have a say when you're deciding things. Don't make it all logical. Let your spirituality and your intuition guide you in life. You don't have to play it analytically safe. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it at that. If this message connects for you, I'm so glad that you heard it, and I wish you all the best in all that you do. Know that your cat, your beloved pet, is still near you. Thank you, and take care.
Are you interested in booking a medium reading with me? Sessions are always unique, beautiful, and unpredictable, but never spooky. Visit italktoghosts.com/readings to pick a date and a time. And I'll let you in on a little secret. There's a special discount offer if you're willing to share your reading on the podcast. But no pressure. If you're feeling called to share this spiritual space with me, I would love to have you as a guest. I can't wait to meet you. And with that, dear listener, we have reached the end of this episode of I Talk to Ghosts. I hope you enjoyed my spirit work tonight, as well as those chilling stories of crossroads and liminal spaces. Have you had your own encounter at a crossroads or somewhere in between? If so, I would love to hear it. In the meantime, wherever you wander off to, in this world or the next, just remember, come back and visit with me. Have a lovely evening and good night.
Hi, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Are you looking for a beach read this summer? May I suggest your big wireless bill? It's got suspense, mystery, a slightly flat emotional arc, and a shocking twist where you realize you've been overpaying the entire time. Fortunately, though, Mint's story is better. Every plan, $15 a month, even unlimited. That's it. Happy ending, 0 tears.
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.